So for today's adventure, if I can get the glare off of this and focus, I'm going to take this 1910 Spanish Oviedo small ring Mauser, and I'm going to try to build something to hunt with. It's got some pits, it's got the usual, what you would expect for an old Mauser. But it's still in serviceable condition. But the first step in any time you want to restore one of these, and I don't know if I can get any light down in there, but you can kind of see the lugs. The first thing you really have to check and be most certain of is that there's no problems with the rails or the lugs. I should say no problem with the lugs. See if I can get some light on the subject. What happens usually with these smaller actions is you get, everybody likes to call lug setback, and you'll see a section on the lug where it's kind of got a indentation. But I'm not seeing that on this action, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some lapping compound on the bolt lugs, and I'm going to lap them. Well, I should have been saying the lands, but I'm going to lap it into the action to make sure that I get a full contact, and I'll try to get some better light on the subject after I get it lapped in a little bit, and we'll be back. So I've got a mandrel that I actually built, and I've got a spring and a ball bearing in it holding tension against the face of the bolt. I've got lapping compound on the lugs of the bolt, and I've got a series of diamond compounds here. I doubt seriously I'm going to use all of them, but what happens is you can get down to what would look like glass if you wanted to take that amount of time and go through a few of these different progressions of diamond lapping compound. But basically what I want to get with this is full contact, so that I know that the entire face of the lands and the whole face of the lugs are contacting, so that when you do fire a round, you don't need to use a dead blow hammer to open the bolt after. Anyway, I'm gonna basically, the action of working the bolt back and forth, and it's kind of hard to do holding a camera, is what laps the lugs in place. And once I get some progress, I'll come back and show you what the faces look like. See if we got full contact. We'll be back. Alright, so after doing some scrubbing back and forth, you can see I got some shiny contact area on the bolt face, the bolt lugs. Inside the receiver, you can see where I'm starting to make some progress, but it still needs a little more work, especially on that bottom face, because it looks like it's only contacting, if I can get this thing to focus. Yeah, there you go. It's only contacting in a small area on that face. You can see the shiny spot there. Sorry for the camera, but it's kind of hard to look inside and hold it where it's focused. So I'm going to keep working on this until I get full contact, and then I'll be back. Alright, so this is another step in the project. What I'm doing now is taking the steps out of the barrel and making a nice tapered barrel, make it look more like a sporter barrel, take the military steps out of it. It's kind of a long process, but this is where it starts. I had to set my tail stock at the right taper. And I'm removing the steps. Make a one long tapered transition on the barrel. We've lapped the lugs and started working on the rest of the pits in the receiver to try to get it polished up, and I'll show you that in a little bit. We'll be back. Alright, so if I can get away from the glare, I know it's hard to see because of the fluorescent lighting in here. This is the receiver that I started out trying to show lapping the lugs, and you can see the lugs have taken on a different appearance. They've got a smooth, shiny kind of surface. Looks like we got better contact, and the purpose of that is to make sure that every time it locks up in the same place. After working on lapping the lugs, this receiver had pits that didn't look like they were going to be easy to remove. So what I ended up doing with that, if I can get some more ambient lighting here, is I went ahead and I added some filler metal in the places where it was pitted the worst. As you can see, Layla really approves. This is all in a process to try to get a military receiver, and this is, I don't know if I can get it to focus on the date, 1910. So this is a very old receiver, but it's one of the things that I guess you could say will help improve skills, working on these ancient receivers and building them into a usable sporting arm. And this is the process of removing the steps in the barrel. We've got the lugs lapped. We've got the pits in the receiver taken care of. Next thing I need to do is I'll have to turn this barrel around and fit it to the receiver so that I can have the right headspace. Be back. Alright, moving along with my Mauser build. I have the receiver mounted with a mandrel to try to turn the receiver true to the axis, and I'm going to take about probably 10 thousandths face cut. Does a couple of things. One, it trues up the face on the receiver, and also I know that the barrel that I just profiled when mounted to the receiver, I've got about 23 thousandths headspace. So I need to remove some of this material to try to tighten up the headspace. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn that face and get the headspace closer and get a truer receiver. And I'll be back. Okay, so what I ended up doing is I wanted to make this rifle a blued steel with stained wood, but it just wouldn't happen because there were too many flaws in the rest of the material. So I ended up Cerakoting the rifle with a barreled action, a Cerakoted barrel action. And then I mounted it to a stock that was already